symbols in it. It has like the Taj Mahal comes down, and if 3 Taj Mahals come down, you get a bonus that plays. And then there's this other screen that's these, I call them pie plates, but they're circles. And if 6 of those comes down, it locks the screen, and then you press the button. And every roll, you get 3 rolls, and if one pops up, it reignites your 3 rolls. And if you fill the whole screen with those pie plates, those circles, you win the grand bonus, which on this machine was $15,000. Well, this gentleman had never played the slot machine, and he was wearing a big mask, big black mask, and we got talking, and he was talking about the machine, and I was explaining to him about, yeah, if you get these circles, you hit it, and then it rolls, and then it'll stop. And he was learning, he's learning about the machine. And we got talking, and I never mentioned my wife, but he was talking about, my wife and I, before she died, we'd come up here and we'd play, and she would never win any money, and I've lost, he said, I've lost like $3,000 in the last month here. And, but I enjoy doing this. He said, I enjoy doing this. This is my one sin that I do now. And he said, I got to get my knees replaced. He said, well, I've had my elbows been worked on, my heart's been worked on, my back's been worked on, my knees have been worked on, my feet have been worked on, my eyes are messing up, I'm dizzy when I get up and I walk around. My wife passed away. We were married for 57 years. And my heart just broke for him. And then he said, and we got talking about HMOs and stuff. And he goes, when I retired, I spent $500,000 on treating my wife's health ailments. I spent $500,000 of my own money on that. My wife was a diabetic. She had 6 operations on her legs at George Washington University Hospital. And the way he talked about it, every time she had an operation, she came back and she got worse. I have no doubt in my mind that she was probably drinking Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi. Now, I didn't ask him that. This is part of what I want to tell you about what my experience with this gentleman was. Usually, with people that are facing these kind of health ailments, I like to reveal to them what I found out about Diet Cokes and Diet Pepsis and about fasting as a means of helping your health. This old man, this wonderful old man, is probably in the last year of his life. I asked him, I said, so are you on statin drugs, or are you on, blood thinners? He said, yeah, I'm on the whole thing. I've got the whole thing, And he was really angry at the medical community, but he was also angry at his own situation, because he said, I got to get my damn knees replaced again, and because they're so painful. And I'm an old man, and I don't have anyone who can help me, because once I get the operations, it's like 6 weeks where I need someone to look after me. And he said that my daughter, who's 65, she said, I can stay with you for a week because she's working. She's still working. And he said he had some other friends that could, stay in for 3 days and stuff like that. But you can't plan a surgical procedure with that type of situation. You can't do it. And he was really sort of downhearted, you know. And it kind of made me, you know, if I didn't live so far away from him, it almost made me want to volunteer and say, look, man, look, I'm retired, and I have the time, and I can help you. But now here's the thing people got to understand. This is the level of care this man's going to need. He needs help. He may need help wiping his ass. And I'm telling you, don't laugh. It's not funny. Everything you take for granted as a young person, as a healthy person, if you get sick, if you're a young person and you're stupid enough to ride a bicycle or ride a motorcycle and to have an accident where you hit your head into a car or into the ground and you crush your skull and you create brain injury where you can no longer do the things you need to do, you will lay in a bed or you will lay in a chair and you will shit and piss on yourself. And if that shit and piss stays on your skin, it will infect you, it will kill you, which means that someone's got to wipe your ass for you. So this gentleman, with his knees being messed up like this, he will have trouble getting. I don't know what happens in the first week of this, because I know they immobilized the knee. I did have a friend who just had elbow surgery, and his accident was just from, he was a contractor, he is a contractor, and he got up on about a, I think it was a 10-foot step ladder that was folded up, and he leaned it against the wall, and he was checking out something on a customer's house, and he went to come down the ladder, and the ladder slipped, and he fell over on his elbow. And just that one impact created a 6-month nightmare for my friend. Actually, I'm going to say a 1-year nightmare, because he's still going through it. He's had to have the elbow, when he hit the elbow, there were bones in it that he fractured. But he didn't break them. But the doctor said that, well, we can, you can just let it heal like that, and you'll have to deal with that for the rest of your life. Or I can go in there and I can do what I have to do. Oh, he also injured his shoulder too when he landed. But I can do what I have to do, and I can reset things. And when it heals, it should heal a lot better. So of course my friend who was working at a job, he's working at this job on the weekends, he's working at his regular job during the week. Because, you can't survive without income. Okay, that's just the natural fact of things. Either you're getting a Social Security income, or you're getting a retirement income, or you're getting a 401k income, or you're getting a CD and a bank income. You got to get income from somewhere. And my friend has been a worker all his life, so is his wife, as we are all tend to be hard workers. So he had good health insurance, but even with his health insurance, he had to pay some ridiculous copays. So that fall on the ground created a 1-year hassle for my friend. God bless him. I haven't talked to him in a while. I need to get in contact with him and say, how you doing? But this old gentleman, this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful old gentleman, was telling me his life story, essentially. And he was so incredibly aware and astute and clear-minded and terrified. He was terrified. I could see it in the way he talked, in the way his eyes were, in the way he looked at me, because he was looking at the end of his life. Because one of the things he said to me was, man, when I get up, I get dizzy now. He said I have COPD. I mean, this list of the gentleman's health ailments this guy has, it's a death sentence. Especially when you put 6 competing medications on top of it that are taking away every remaining bit of his physical stamina and ability to fight his ailments. Now people will say, well, Phil, that's keeping him alive. I'm telling you, these medicines they got today are so damn toxic that they create a situation where I just don't understand how doctors can prescribe a human being 10 medications, 10 chemicals in a row. And if you look on drugs.com, they tell you right off the bat, if you're taking this medicine, don't take any other medicines with it for a span of 4 hours. Give yourself a 4-hour space. When you take this medicine, give a 4-hour space before you take any other competing medicines, because it will affect this medicine. Okay? There will be other medicines. Well, drugs.com will say this medicine does not have interactions with any other medicine, so you're safe there. Okay? There's an entire tapestry of interactions that drugs have with another drug. My wife was on medicines that when I got on drugs.com, the doctors told us, well, she's got to take all these medicines. And I was like going, okay, let me go on drugs.com and see what the interactions are. And damn if I didn't run into a bunch of interactions. And the interactions were terrifying. And so the interactions only applied if you took them all together. Now, Knucklehead is down here at my feet. And she's playing with she's been 100 times more energetic in the last 20 minutes than she's been in about 2 weeks. So this is wonderful. But the interactions only applied if the drugs were taken in a line, if you took them all at the same time. But if you spaced them out and you left a 2-hour gap between this medicine and that medicine, or there's these 3 medicines you could take together, so you have, say you're taking 6 pills. Well, this one medicine, that is definitely, you take it alone, and you take this once every 12 hours, you leave a 4-hour space, and then you take these other pills. So you're good, okay? That's how that works. So that's how I did it, She still got her medicine. She still got it in the doses that she was supposed to. But by spreading that medicine out, I negated the potential for a drug interaction. Her doctor never told me that. The HMO never sent me a dosing recommendation of, take that 4-hour space in there, or take that 2-hour space in there. But it was right on drugs.com. And this is the thing that terrifies me about when you see people on statin drugs, which are horrendously toxic. One of the dominant things that statin drugs do is they create massive leg pain in people who take them. And the dominant thing that doctors do when they encounter that problem is they give the patient painkillers. They don't assess that maybe the body's saying something about the way the statin is damaging the structure of the body, and it's telling you, hey, you need to stop taking this drug. Instead, the HMOs that support the doctors tells them, no, you're going to give the patient the statin drug, and when they complain about the pain, you're going to give them gabapentin, which is a painkiller. And you're going to dose them up on that gabapentin until they can't feel any pain in their legs anymore. They're going to keep taking the statin drug, which is a great big money maker for the pharmaceutical companies. And now they're going to be taking the gabapentin, which is another great big money maker for the pharmaceutical companies. Well, then you get these two, the combination of these two drugs that are highly toxic. And then you get another problem that comes up. And it's, I can't assess that it's caused by the statin drugs. But you may get AFib, which is a irregular heartbeat. And when you start getting AFib, that's a big damn problem. If they assess that you have AFib, if you become unhealthy enough to get AFib, that is a massive moneymaker for them. And they will put you on blood thinners. And blood thinners are one of the most toxic drugs in the history of medicine. They are one of the most toxic drugs in the history of medicine. They have probably killed more people outright than any other drug that's ever been made in the history of medicine, because they keep being used, and the way that they're being used is not being researched because they don't want to actually bring attention to the fact that these drugs are so damn dangerous. So they stopped looking at the dosing protocols. They just said 150 milligrams twice a day is how you're supposed to take this. And their thinking is, and I kind of respect this about blood clots. The whole point about AFib is you can get blood clots. And the blood clots can move to your brain and give you a stroke and kill you. Or they can, stop in your heart or in your veins and arteries, and they can kill you. So what they're doing with the blood thinners is they're fighting the body's urge to create a blood clot. But there are reasons why the body's trying to create a blood clot. We need to find out those reasons. We need to examine and figure out those reasons. We need to stop the production of the blood clot. We don't need to treat the after effect. It's kind of like being in a neighborhood where houses are catching on fire, and you move a firehouse into the neighborhood and you treat the fire instead of finding the person who's setting the houses on fire. It's stupid. And it's part of why my wife died. She was given a blood thinner after she was given 2 shots from Pfizer. Because after she was given 2 shots from Pfizer, she developed AFib. She'd never had AFib before in her life. She also couldn't go to the bathroom. She had to take massively powerful laxatives to get any fecal matter to come out of her body. And that happened right after the second Pfizer shot. So these blood thinners are horrendously toxic. Now, are they saving lives? I have to say, yes. I have to say that they can create a temporary situation where your body is intervened in, where it's creating these blood clots, and they could kill you. Some of the symptoms, some of the bad problems with blood clots is bleeding. That's what got my wife, was she started pooping and there was blood around her stool. But long-term users of blood clots have a real problem with bruising in their skin. And I'm not talking about like a bruise that heals. I'm talking about a bruise that doesn't heal. And if you're an older person that like me, and you can see it right here, I guess you can see it. I got sun poisoning on my left arm, and I've got the beginning of sun poisoning. Well, I got sun poisoning on my right arm too. So I'm going to have to start wearing. I'm I call it old person's windbreakers. I'm in a situation now where I can't expose my skin on my arms to the sun anymore. Same thing goes for my head here. I've got hats, floppy hats that I've got because I have age spots on my head. Thankfully, I don't have the kind of sun poisoning on my arms, on my head yet, but I've got to stop that now because I'm over 60 years of age, and I intend to live until I'm 125 years old. Is that realistic? No, it's not realistic, but that's my goal. And I intend to never be in the situation this old man has found himself in. And it's not his fault. It's the fault of all of us to not demand more of ourselves to maintain our health. Okay? We can't leave our health to doctors. We can't do that. A doctor is a mechanic. He sees the car after you haven't changed the oil in 100,000 miles. He sees the car after you've driven it through the ditch and bent the wheels and bent the suspension and maybe broken parts in it. He is the mechanic who sees the car after it's been slammed into by another car. And by and large, he's given a very low budget to fix the car, which is your body. And you're expecting the illusion, the hilarious illusion that a doctor is a shaman. He is a shaman, and he can take out the herbs and light them on fire, and he can wave them around your face, and 40 years of you not taking care of yourself suddenly disappears and your body regenerates itself. And suddenly you feel like you're freaking 13 years old again. You're entering puberty. You're crazy as batshit. You don't have a body pain in the world. And you're like going, yay, I'm healthy again. That complete ass lie has to stop. You are responsible for your health. Yes, do I look like a zombie doing this? You are responsible for your health. That's what really made me mad when my wife kept getting medicines that the doctors could see were just obliterating her. And the doctors would go, she's got great tests. I said, Doc, look. When she came in here, she could get out of the bed. She could go to the toilet. She could sit on the toilet for a half hour and take a poop and then wipe her butt. Put her clothes back on. She could walk back out. She could look at the television. She could look out the window if she wanted to. She could cuss me out if she wanted to. Since you put her on the medicine, all she can do is lay in the bed and have her legs hurt. She can't even get out of the bed without a nurse helping her go to the damn bathroom. Now I'm going to ask you again about the medicine that you're putting her on. I'm going to ask you again about the situation we're looking at. And the doctors, all of them, like zombies. They all said the same thing. But her test numbers are good. Her test numbers are good. They didn't even see my wife. All they saw was paper. They didn't see my wife. So you are responsible for your health. Okay? This old man, this wonderful old man, with all of his health ailments, when I was talking to him, you know, this is going to sound crazy, okay? But I believe in the presence of the Lord in everything we do. I really do. I believe that in that, the Lord has spirits that are always around you, that may help you. I also believe that there are spirits from the evil one who are always around you, who have no intention of you helping yourself. And I have daily interactions with those spirits. Those evil spirits are in my life all the time. They always have been. But when I was talking to this man, I just felt kind of the presence of one of those God spirits putting their hand on my shoulder and saying, don't say a word about fasting to this man. Don't say anything about Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi to this man. This man will be with me soon. His spirit will be with me soon. And that kind of broke my heart, because one of the things about when you go to a casino, you see a vast layering of humanity. You see people. What are you doing, poops? What are you doing, pooper? What you doing? Don't do it. Oh, got it. I swear to God, if you do that, I'm going to squeeze it. Don't do it. Get up here, knucklehead. Come here. She looks like a Chinese cat. Those eyes get, she gets, I do this little thing. I got my leg crossed in my lap right now. And I do this, so it leaves an opening, right? And she can see through the opening. So I put my finger like this, like a little worm, like a little bug, and she attacks it. But she looks like a Chinese cat. Her eyes get big and they get narrow and they get big, and she looks like cross-eyed. She's cute as she can be. It's very clear that this new food's really helped her, and that's wonderful. But like I said, when I was talking to this old man, something just said, don't give him your Coke and Pepsi spiel. Don't talk to him about fasting, because he's on blood thinners. He's on statin drugs. Knucklehead just got up in my lap, as you can see. He's on statin drugs and blood thinners. If he tried to go on a fast without doctor's care, it would kill him. And if you're on statin drugs and if you're on blood thinners, one of the things they tell you is do not suddenly stop taking them. Don't do it. Come to the doctor. If you want to get off of them, talk with the doctor. The doctor will 99.99% of the time say, I don't recommend you do that. I don't recommend you do this. You should stay on the statin drugs. But that 0.01% of the time where the doctor says, okay, we can do this, but sometimes I don't know if they've ever done this, sign waivers or whatever, but it's a liability to the doctor, because it's so dangerous to come off the statin drugs and so dangerous to come off of blood thinners, especially blood thinners. Man, blood thinners are dangerous as a rattlesnake. You need to talk to your doctor when you get put on blood thinners. You need to talk to him about all your medicines. You need to talk to him about the way that blood thinners should be taken. Should any blood thinners be taken with any other medicines? You need to get the whole 9 yards. So anyway, talking to this wonderful old gentleman, I never told him about the Diet Pepsi or the Diet Coke thing. I never told him about the fasting. He was very lucky to be sitting in that chair at Charlestown. He just was. I see people I've seen people at Charlestown. I told this story about a woman that was bent over. I'm guessing from arthritis. Her back was bent over. She was actually at a 90-degree angle, and she had a walker, and she was trying to get her card into the Charlestown club machine and get it to work, and she was having all kinds of problems. And I was right next to her, so I just said, screw it. You know, I talked to her for a good 15, 20 minutes. I showed her how to use her card, and then she wanted to know, well, what do you mean money? Because when you join that club, Charlestown, yeah, you so cute. You're the cutest thing in the world, yes you are. Feel better, don't you? I know you do. I can see it. But I helped her use her card. I actually took her over to a machine that was close. I showed her how to enter the codes into her card, and showed her how to choose how to put the money from her card into the machine, and then we just cleared it because she didn't want to use that machine. And she thanked me very much. Now this woman is sentenced to a life right now of being bent over at a 90-degree angle for the rest of her life. Do you know, how does she take a shower when she can't reach up and grab the shower handle? How does she wipe where her stomach is against her legs and dry it? Because now this lady was not obese. She was fairly, she had enough fat on her that she was clearly not starving, but she was healthy from the standpoint of her body mass. But everything she had to do, imagine that. Imagine. Now this was a lady who may well have benefited from fasting, because if it's arthritis causing her problem in her back, the damage that's in her back could be helped. Now unfortunately, when it's progressed this far, when arthritis or joint damage has progressed to the point where the joint is destroyed, the amount of repair the body can do is limited. But if you do fast from the time you're young, you actually create a situation where the body goes into your joints and repairs those joints, because it takes the damage out of those joints. This was another case where I did not, tell the lady about, I did not tell her about Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi. I did not tell her about fasting. All I wanted to do was give her 10, 15 minutes of somebody who gave a shit about her, helping her. And that's what I gave her. And this is what I tell you about when I end my videos. I say, hey, spread a little joy around, okay? If you're able to do something for somebody, please do it. Yesterday, I went up, I got a job back in the field I used to do.